What's up, YouTube? So, in this video, I'm going to be going over my thoughts on the San Francisco 49ers before we play against them. Obviously, this is a fantastic matchup. Um, Two very, very good teams with a lot of storylines behind it, whether it be Mike McDaniel being their former offensive coordinator. You know, we've got Jeff Wilson, we've got Raheem Mostert, we've got Trent Sherfield, all guys that played for the Niners. Um, and there's a lot of other storylines outside of that too, especially on Twitter between Deebo Samuel and Raheem Mostert going back at each other. That's been fun. But the 49ers are one of the better teams we played this year, and it is going to be an interesting one. We both like to do a lot of misdirection on offense, but luckily both teams have seen that in camp as well. But expect Mike McDaniel and Kyle Shanahan to have some extra wrinkles for each opponent. I definitely think that's going to be the case. They obviously have a lot of good weapons. Christian McCaffrey, very, very good running back, can give you a lot of value as a receiver as well. He is questionable. I assume he'll probably play. But even if he doesn't, their offensive line and their offensive scheme will allow them to have some kind of running success for the most part. But we do stop the run fairly well, so I think we can probably do okay as long as we, just read our keys well and just play disciplined football. Jimmy Garoppolo is a guy who's definitely a rhythm passer. You don't want to let him get going because he will roll over you if you let him get going. But if you can frustrate him, he is prone to making a lot of mistakes. Deebo Samuel is a very, very talented player. We all know this. He's got about 500 receiving yards and 200 rushing yards, which is pretty crazy. Very, very versatile player. Very, very tough. But Brandon Ayuk is actually their number one receiver statistically, just strictly receiver. Very versatile guy as well. He's actually, despite only being 6 foot, he's pretty good at contested catches. He's a pretty tough guy. He's a good deep threat, pretty solid route runner as well. Just a really solid guy. Juan Jennings is a decent guy as well. George Kittle, obviously one of the better tight ends in football. Some people would call him the best. I'd probably give the nod to Kelsey. But George Kittle is a fantastic guy, and he's a better blocker as well. Kyle Juszczyk, probably the best fullback in football, and they have a fantastic offensive line as well. And defensively is where they really get busy. They defend the pass and the run very, very well. Nick Bosa has 11 and a half sacks this year. So they can get pass rush without having to blitz too much, but they will definitely mix in some blitzes. They do a lot of 4-3 things, but they do a lot of things out of the nickel and stuff like that too. They'll mix in some man and zone as well. So definitely a lot of things we're going to have to kind of take a look at. They're pretty damn tough team, and like I said, they are very good against the pass and run. Hopefully we can get some sort of running game going. I know our running backs are both questionable, which is unfortunate. Because I don't want to let Nick Bosa just tee off on our quarterback. That just doesn't sound like a fun idea. We got to find some way to get some kind of run game going. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, just something. And obviously Fred Warner is still a solid player. Dre Greenlaw. They got a lot of guys. I mean, Charles Omenihu's had a decent amount of sacks this year. They got some pretty decent DBs as well. Nothing insane there. They mostly get busy from their front seven and being able to generate pressure, and then that allows them to have 7 people back in coverage. And obviously Robbie Gould is a fantastic kicker. Their special teams in general is pretty solid. So, and by the way, when I mentioned Brandon Ayuk, he will switch things up and do some kick return and punt return things too. Don't be surprised about that, and he can get some yak as well. That's why they put him on kick and punt return sometimes. So, yeah. Anyway, that's going to be it for this video. If you liked it, appreciate hitting that like button. Have any questions or comments in the comments down below. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.